What are your cringy, I'm not like other girls, stories that you're embarrassed about or were unfortunate enough to witness? Story 1. I was fortunate enough to witness this one. My now wife and I, UK nationals, were living in Uganda for a time, in about 2000, while she did some studying. We tried to travel around the country as much as possible whilst there. Anyone who travels anywhere at all has met travelers. The cliches, the people who've been everywhere, seen everything, and done it all before anyone else did it, at the cost and with full approval of the local people. Buttholes, basically. One time we were at a little town on the shore of Lake Victoria. You could catch fishermen's boats from this place out to an archipelago called the Sessi Islands, I think. You needed to be carried to the boats by a local porter due to a parasite in the water. The locals had this parasite from childhood and lived with it okay, but it's not good to catch it. I did, and it wasn't. There were a few Westerners in a cafe-type place waiting for boats. One guy, Dave, we know from other trips. He was great. He'd traveled a fair bit, but was totally naive and believed anything people said, in a nice way. He always wanted to hear people's stories and was open to anything he was told. Another person was one of these traveler types, dreadlocks, tie-dye pants, you know the type, said something like, "I've traveled every way known to man, but I've never been carried by a person. I'm looking forward to completing my list." Dave said, and totally meant it, which gave it a devastating power. Really? That must be awesome. What's it like on a submarine? Watching her flounder, prevaricate, and finally have to answer, I've never been on a submarine, was way more enjoyable than it should have been. Were I a more worthy person? I'm not, though, so it was great. Edit. Thank you for all the awards and upvotes. Sorry if I offended anyone talking about dreads and the tie-dye, as if that constitutes a person's personality. Of course it doesn't. A poster below explains what I mean better than I did. It's someone who thinks everyone else is a tourist, but they, and only they, and their friends, are genuine travelers. Physical appearance has nothing to do with the kind of uniform that many wear. Sorry to dread and tie-dye wearers. People have asked about the parasite. Yes, it was Schistosoma mansoni and is easily treatable with a tablet. You get carried on the shoulder of a porter to a long canoe-type boat with an outboard. I got it maybe from being splashed, maybe from swimming in the lake out at the islands. There's another story to tell about that, but another time, where the water was supposed to be clear with it. This is the place and type of boats. I started noticing the effects when I was back in the UK. I was having night sweats and delirium and just feeling very drained. Alcohol made it worse. Luckily, I had bought the treatment before I left, so I used that, and all was fine. I think people who live with it kind of find an equilibrium and don't feel too bad. I did, though. It was pretty rough for a week or so, until I put two and two together. I was glad that I had the treatment. My now wife was working with Macro University in Kampala, and she was finishing her master's at Imperial College, King's College, whoopsies, London, and I was studying water quality. She was researching using a series of ponds with specific vegetation in each one to clean sewage water, a natural treatment plant. If you like, you can see how they would be useful in time. We spent a lot of time sampling, literally, water at sewage plants, so that was nice. They turned out very effective, if maintained properly, but the ones we were looking for, we were there for about 5 months in the year 2000. Story 2. I always loved dolls and dressing up as a kid. I would spend all my free time playing with my dolls, but when I went to school, I would scoff at the other girls for playing with dolls. I wanted to be seen as tough and cool. Spoiler, I was neither of those things. For my 10th birthday, my parents worked together to build some doll furniture. Dad did a lot of woodworking, and Mom was good with a sewing machine. Together, they created a cool little wardrobe and bed set for my dolls. They were painted white and had little flower stickers for decoration. My dad had even made a little mirror for my dolls to go on the inside of one of the wardrobe doors, and my mom had sewn up a mini mattress for the bed. I just about cried when I opened my presents because I loved them so much. But my friend was sitting right beside me, and I knew if I told my parents I loved the presents, my friend would know I liked dolls. My lives would be undone. So I said, "Thanks, but I don't like dolls. They're for babies." My parents looked so freaking sad. I'm 25 years old, and I'm crying as I type this because I still feel so guilty 15 years later. A few years ago, I got drunk at a family gathering, and I sobbed to my dad and apologized for what I said, and told him I loved the present. He knew. So I got my apology out, but I still feel like a total chunt. Story 3. There's this woman I follow on Twitter because about half of the things she says and retweets I agree with and relate to wholeheartedly, but the other half are just the cringiest, most pick-me things ever. This lady's in her 40s, and the other day she literally used the hashtag I'm not like other girls, and she used it because she was talking about how she can cut up poultry well because she used to be a vet tech that sometimes had to assist in necropsies. Huh? Dude, 1, no one cares. 2, this doesn't make you not like the other girls. Female vet techs are a dime a dozen, and like I said, this is a 40-something-year-old woman with a husband and kids. Yes, in that circumstance, you probably should know how to prepare chicken. She says stuff like that all the time and thinks she's so different and quirky because she likes Halloween and horror movies, and she works out, so oh my god, she's such an athlete and so unlike every other woman everywhere. When in reality, all the stuff she likes and does, so basic. And that's okay. That's how I am too. Most of what I like are basic stereotypical girl things, and that is totally fine. Plus, in this day and age, nothing you like or do is really unique anyway. Even if your favorite holiday is Flag Day instead of Halloween or Christmas, I guarantee I could search some key terms online and find thousands of people who agree with you. Like, man, you are just not that special, my dude. Story 4. A girl I went to high school with was such a tryhard to be just like that. She thought she was being cool and edgy with everyone because she thought everyone liked her and that her sense of humor was so good. Turns out she was just obnoxious, and her humor was nothing but insults and demeaning comments about people at first glance. Biggest cringe moment was when we were trying out for soccer. Some of the men's soccer team were volunteering at the tryouts to help the coaches, taking notes, running drills, starting warm-ups, etc., and I was friends with them, either by classes or mutual friends. This chick got so butthurt at the fact that I was having a conversation with someone that she actually inserted herself into every conversation she saw me having to try and make herself look better and insult me. I brushed it off and moved on because I don't have time for that. Second biggest cringe was that she started a rumor that I was sleeping with a guy I was good friends with, and that I was a slit. Turns out she didn't bother checking if he was in a relationship. He was in a 5-year relationship at that point. He called her out and told her that was the last straw and stopped being friends with her. Ended up making a lot of people feel really shady about her after that. Story 5. I spent my middle school years wearing fake coontail extensions and saying, "I'll end your life" to anyone who tried talking to me, especially other girls. I don't know what the frick was wrong with me, but I'm still lying awake at night replaying it all a decade later. To answer a few questions, I guess I thought it made me cool and mysterious. I also bragged about not having any friends for some reason. I was a Girl Scout at the time as well, and it was so bad the troop leader suggested I find a new troop. I was very odd and standoffish. I had severe undiagnosed anxiety, and I never really developed basic social skills as a kid. Around 16, I finally realized how poopy I was and dropped the weird fake mean persona. I'm a well-adjusted adult now, and to clear this up, coontails are not race-related. It's hair, it's dyed in a striped pattern to resemble a raccoon tail. I had one pink and one blue that I insisted was real, and my bangs were bleached. I was a mess inside and out. Story 6. In high school, 2016, I had a girl convince me that I was basic because I listened to whatever was on the radio and knew the songs. I have 4 sisters, so of course I do. They didn't like my music. Well, one day I caught her listening to a certain band and went, "Oh, what are you listening to?" She went, "Oh, you wouldn't know them. They're very out of your taste." I don't have a taste in music. I asked her to share the details, and she just kept telling me I didn't know them, and that she was going to their summertime concert just to appease the metalhead boys in our choir. "Oh, really? Where's the concert?" "Oh, it's in New York." "Oh, really? My dad never scheduled the concert there." Her heart visibly dropped as soon as she pieced 2 and 2 together. I have the same last name as the drummer. The band is local. It's my dad's band. I cringed so hard writing this because I can just remember her trying to convince me I didn't know my dad. Story 7. There was a point in my life when I felt like I'm not like other girls. If I, number 1, don't complain too much, don't be too emotional, have no strong opinions about anything, and basically go with the flow as much as I can. This led to having no boundaries and a lot of repressed mental health issues on my part. Number 2, can be a jack of all trades and knowledgeable about many different hobbies and interests. This led to having a lot of equipment I barely use anymore, spending a lot more money, and I feel like I can never get past the basics of everything, which made me lose my sense of self. Number 3, basically didn't have my own identity, and I could be any girl you wanted me to. I'm not like other girls because I am all girls. I'm Whitney Houston. I'm every woman. Story 8. I was definitely one of those girls who was certain I could drink with the boys, which, because I'm tall, I could drink more than some, but nowhere near a heavyweight. I told myself I hated pink, polka dots, and sparkles, refused to go near any of it, even though I secretly loved them. I thought I could pass off as a cool girl by being able to talk about video games. Of course, as a little sister, I never played any of them. I would just watch. It's honestly so frustrating that so much of my personality was essentially hidden for most of my teen years simply because I didn't want to be seen as weak. Weird how society defines anything girly as weak. Story 9. I'm not like other girls. I love sports, preferably fencing. I have lovely dark hair. My dad passed away when I was young, sad face. I'm a male. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Story 10. Something so cliche it hurts to even talk about. I am a girl. I work at GameStop here in Germany, so one might assume I am into video games. And for most people, this isn't even something special anymore, so not even a thing worth mentioning. But we had that female customer who came into our shop and wanted to buy one of the Call of Duty games. I don't remember which one. And with the straightest face ever, she came to the counter and told me, obviously female, and my male colleague, without asking, yeah, that's right, I'm a girl that plays video games. I love playing with my male friends. Like, it was so rare and so special, and she felt so cool. Like, so cool. I could barely keep a straight face while my colleague sold her the game, and we burst out laughing after she left the store. Story 11. I'm 29, so I lived as a preteen and a teen during the peak AIM days. Putting up away messages were the crap. Eating dinner with your family? Let the world know. Be right back, BRB, let them know. Taking a shower? Tell everyone. One of my away messages for just that was, save water, shower with me, with the kissy face that had the little beauty marks for some reason. OG AIM users, you know the one. I was honestly like 11. Literally had never kissed a boy. Guarantee I was also still wearing overalls, keds, and bucket hats. I'm a 4th grade teacher now, and I realize now that I was an actual baby at the time. I cringe just thinking about it. Overall, I would really like to go back in time and smack some sense into me. Story 12. I probably had most of my cringe moments as a teenager. I used to think I was cool because instead of using MSN or MySpace to gossip with schoolmates, I was on IRC and playing Counter-Strike or Diablo 2 with my online buddies. I only listened to metal, and I always wore black clothing while decking myself out in chains. On the plus side, with social media being in its infancy, most of my blunders have long been forgotten or were never immortalized online. I still have some quirky interests, I guess, but I don't shy away from the mainstream either, and now like to think of myself as a reasonably well-adjusted lady. I like to think that everyone gets a pass for cringy teenage behavior and phases. Story 13. Friend of mine started dating the single most dramatic girl I've ever met. We lived on the 4th floor. We always took the elevator. So we all get in to go down to the lunch hall, and she literally dashes for the corner and starts rocking back and forth in a really sad act at being terrified. He runs over to hold her and explains she's terrified of elevators. First, she lived with us on the same floor for 2 months, and we've all seen her on the elevator acting normal. Second, if you were really terrified of elevators, you would just walk the 4 floors. It wasn't even that far up. Third, her acting was just terrible. Of course, a few weeks later, she forgot all about it and went back to acting normal on elevators again. Story 14. Lady next door needed help breaking into her probably not son's friend's car. She said she could do it with a fishing line, and I happened to like the fish, so I had some braided heavy pound test and offered it to her. She pulls the amount she needs and tries to break it with her teeth for a while. Me, ma'am, that's a braided line. Her, oh no honey, I'm a country girl. Holy crap. Story 15. In high school, I had this friend who tried so hard to be one of the guys, to the point where she would call herself that often. I didn't realize how cringy she was until I ran into her at a party in my 20s. She walked up to my boyfriend, currently my fiancé, grabbed his hat, put it on her head backwards, then asked for a haul of his cigarette, she doesn't even smoke, and coughed profusely. She then proceeded to punch him in the stomach and started calling herself one of the guys again. A few of us just looked at each other awkwardly and slowly trickled away. Story 16. With almost everything I did, I felt proud of myself for supposedly not being like other girls. I didn't wear the same types of clothes other girls wore. I didn't wear makeup. I was so unique because I liked anime, all that kind of stuff. I tried way too hard to make friends with guys because apparently I thought they were better than the girls, for some reason. I cringe looking back on it, but I also feel sad about it. Girls shouldn't feel pitted against each other. Story 17. When I was in middle school, we had to make those desk nameplates for some teachers, and one of my friends was drawing on hers and wrote, I am an otaku, so what? When she showed me, I said, why that? No one ever said anything about you liking anime. She got upset and didn't talk to me for a week. For context, I'm from Latin America, so liking anime isn't something weird, and she wasn't the only one who watched anime in my class either. Story 18. Girl in uni said she wasn't like other girls because she could hold her liquor like a man. So went shot for shot with this big dude. People tried to stop her, but she was going to prove herself. She kept saying she was fine. Finally, when she flat out passed out, and we ended up having to take her to the ER for what was alcohol poisoning, it was pretty clear she was just super stupid at that moment. Story 19. Oh, good lord, there are so many. At one point, I based my entire personality off of the fact that I listened to metal, and that preference made me different and special. I honestly looked down on girls for liking pop, or even the color pink. In retrospect, I think I was just lashing out about how people focused so much on my femininity, also speculation about crushes and stuff, and I took it out on anything remotely feminine. In my defense, I was also like 10 years old. Story 20. I was my best friend's maid of honor a few years back, and we were wedding dress shopping, and this one quirky bride came in like, whatever dress I get has to go with my red chucks. I'm not one of those girls who wear heels. I'll always be different. And the shop lady was like, actually, second to a traditional heel or ballet flat, chucks are a super common choice for our many low-maintenance brides. And her whole attitude just deflated. Story 21. I played the ukulele and sang like a stereotypical wannabe manic pixie dream girl. I also tried to get into riding a motorcycle, but broke my foot on it on a motorcycle safety course designed to teach new riders how to ride. I refuse to even be a passenger on one of those things now. So freaking different and adventurous, shaking my head. I want to punch the teenage version of me in the face sometimes. Story 22. I remember being like 14 and this 16-year-old guy asked me what my fantasy was, and I said, well, I mean, most girls would like to have Prince Charming on a white horse, but I don't like horses. I'm just different like that. He definitely meant intimate fantasies, not like romance, but I needed him to know I was cool and didn't like horses like other girls. Story 23. I wanted to be emo, but my parents wouldn't let me dye my hair or buy me new clothes. So I was just an ugly middle school girl with a poopy attitude in Bobby Jack outfits. Story 24. I'm not like other girls, I'm strong and independent. Girl, you justifiably left your husband, and 2 weeks later, your strong, independent self moved your 2-year-old daughter in with a guy you met a week earlier because you can't bear to be single and haven't been for more than a month since you were 13. Story 25. Oh geez, I thought I was a stoner after the first time I smoked weed. I bought this Bob Marley shirt I wore all the time and made Rasta-colored bracelets, and I felt so cool. Passed out on a rock band drum set after smoking a blunt like it was a cigarette and decided that wasn't the life for me. Story 26. I thought I was not like other girls because I didn't drink or party. I thought I was above my classmates who did. In reality, I was just jealous because I was never invited. Probably because I was such a snob. I was totally picky, and I cringe when I think about it. Story 27. I refused to wear the skirts in my school uniforms and wore trousers instead, even though 95% of the girls wore skirts. Then, in my final year of school, I tried to wear skirts and felt like an idiot for suffering for 4 years straight with trousers just so I didn't look like the other girls. Story 28. I said stupid stuff like, I'm watching or listening to dumb, obscure thing. I bet y'all don't know what that is. Facebook memories is going to be the death of me. Good thing is that if you thought your past self was cringy, it just means you grew as a person. Story 29. This was in middle school, but back before when I was the ultimate pick-me girl, I hated One Direction and was very vocal about it. I had no reason. Everyone else loved them, so I wasn't like other girls. Same with Justin Bieber, but he did turn out to be a dong. Story 30. I wasn't like other girls because I loved hats. Top hats specifically. For like a year in 6th grade, I think I wore a top hat to school and I thought I was the poop. It's funny now, but oh my god, did I cringe for years after it. Story 31. I took 4 years of auto body repair in high school because I was clearly different than all the other girls. I did end up really liking it, but I started for all the wrong reasons. Story 32. A girl at school once commented on my Facebook picture, "You look cute, heart," and an angry me said, "Thanks. You're not getting a heart back. That would be dumb." Story 33. I used to think I was so cool for not knowing how to order a Starbucks drink because I just drink regular coffee. By the way, I've always hated black coffee. Story 34. In high school, one of my teachers asked everyone to say one word describing themselves, and I said, classy. I die inside every time I remember it. Story 35. I used to think I was a natural witch after watching The Craft for the first time. It was so cringy. The moodiest middle schooler ever. I miss it. Story 36. I hated anything new or trendy because I thought I was cool and contrary to it, from ages 13 to 16. I like to not think about it. Story 37. I wore my dad's pirate boots from when he was going as a pirate for Halloween in like 1988 every day to school. Story 38. I had a phase where I would get all high and mighty about the fact that I didn't wear crop tops. Story 39. A girl, when asked about interests, said, I don't have any. I'm normal. Story 40. I don't have any cringe stories. I'm not like all those other people on the internet. Story 41. I tried to melt a plastic spork into a bracelet. Click on one of the videos you see on the screen now, or a Karen will sue you.